Okay, so let's get right into it. If you're watching this, there's a good chance PayPal has done something pretty shocking. They've seized your entire account balance. You've probably seen a memo in your account that says something like loss recovery. That's the newer one they've been using since mid-2022, or maybe the older one, damages caused by acceptable use policy violation. It feels like a punch to the gut. But this guide is here to walk you through a specific UK-based strategy, one that people have successfully used to fight back and recover their funds, whether it's in mediation, arbitration, or even in court.
So yeah, this is probably where you're at. 1 minute, you have your money, and the next, it's just gone. It's an incredibly stressful situation, and you're likely looking for a clear way forward. And that is exactly what we are going to lay out for you.
Right, so these are the exact phrases you need to be looking for in your transaction history. Again, loss recovery is the more recent one, but you might see the older damages memo. Finding one of these is the key because it confirms you're in the precise situation this strategy is built for. And here's some good news. There is a solid strategy here. And the best part is, it works across the board. The core legal arguments we're about to dive into, they're the same whether you're filing a complaint with PayPal, talking to the financial ombudsman, or even if you end up in small claims court. The foundation of the argument doesn't change.
Now, this is so important. This is the biggest mental shift you have to make. Your first instinct is probably to defend yourself, right? To prove your business is legit or that you didn't break any rules. We're going to put all of that to one side. The focus here isn't on what you did. It's about the legality of what they did when they took your money.
This slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, that's your gut reaction. But arguing that stuff gets you trapped in a messy debate about their terms of service. The real power is on the right. When you argue that their deduction is a disproportionate and unenforceable penalty, you shift the entire conversation. You force them to justify their actions under UK law. Exactly. Just forget about why your account was limited for a moment. That's a whole other fight. This legal challenge is laser-focused on the money they took. Your entire goal is to demonstrate that seizing your whole balance, especially when they haven't lost a single penny, isn't them recovering damages. It's an unlawful penalty. Okay, let's talk about one of the most powerful bits of evidence you might have. You see, after an account is limited, many people get an email or a message from PayPal, and that message often contains a very specific, and for them, a very problematic promise. Does that look familiar? This sentence, or something very similar, is absolute gold. It's a clear statement they made to you about what would happen to your money. But as you now know, it's a promise they often break when they decide to just keep the funds instead. So this timeline shows you the classic playbook. First, they limit you. Then they promise to hold your funds for a set period, usually 180 days. And then, at the end of that period, they do a balance sweep. They take everything and just relabel it as damages. This sequence is legally very, very important. You see, when PayPal breaks that 180-day promise, they're creating a whole host of legal problems for themselves. You can argue it's a potential breach of their own contract with you. You can argue it's an unfair term under consumer law because it creates a huge imbalance of power. And you can argue it's a misleading practice because they told you one thing while fully intending to do another. So, how do we wrap all this up into a formal argument? Well, it all rests on two powerful pillars of UK law that are just perfect for this situation. These are the concepts you'll want to repeat in every letter and complaint you send. The first one is called the penalty doctrine. In simple terms, UK law is pretty clear that a contract can't be used to punish someone with a financial penalty that is completely over the top and out of proportion to any actual damage that was caused. And pillar number two is the Consumer Rights Act of 2015. This is your shield. It says, a term in a contract is unfair if it creates a major imbalance against you, the consumer. And get this, the act itself gives a specific example of an unfair term, one that forces someone to pay a disproportionately high sum in compensation. Sound familiar? On this table just makes it so clear. For so many people, even if they technically broke a minor rule, the actual financial loss to PayPal was zero. Zilch. No chargebacks, no fraud. And yet, what did PayPal take? The entire balance. Taking thousands of pounds to cover £0 in losses, well, that's the textbook definition of a disproportionate penalty.
So, this is it. This sentence right here is the heart of your entire case, boiled down into one powerful statement. You're not even fighting their allegation. You're simply saying their remedy, taking all your money, is an unenforceable penalty under UK law. Okay, theory is great, but a strong case needs solid proof. So let's run through the exact documents you need to start pulling together right now to build your case. This is your homework. Go in and download your account history that shows the final balance they took. Screenshot your chargeback history, especially if it's 0 or very low. Find that limitation notice. And absolutely find every single message where they promised you'd get the money after 180 days. You are building a paper trail that screams no loss, just seizure.
All right, with your evidence in hand, you're ready to make your move. And the process in the UK is actually quite structured. Here's a clear 3-step plan for you to follow. First, you file a formal written complaint directly with PayPal. You have to use the magic words unenforceable penalty and unfair term under the Consumer Rights Act. If they don't give you a satisfactory answer or refund you within 8 weeks, you escalate to the Financial Ombudsman Service, which is free for you to use. And if that still doesn't work, small claims court is your final step, using these very same arguments. Now, it is really important to be realistic here. While this strategy has worked for some people, it's not a magic wand. If your account had a history of high chargebacks, or if you genuinely caused clear, provable financial damages to PayPal, your case is going to be much, much weaker. This argument is that it's most powerful when the amount they took is glaringly out of proportion to any harm they actually suffered. So, after all of this, what's the one thing you really need to remember? It's that you have to completely reframe this entire dispute. You need to take the burden of proof off of yourself and put it right back where it belongs, on them. And this is the question you leave them with. It is not about debating their acceptable use policy. The only question that matters under UK law is this. Show me the math. Show me the specific, quantifiable financial loss you suffered that adds up to the entire balance you took from me. Because if they can't, well, then they don't just have a customer service issue on their hands, they have a very serious legal one.